Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
There are 2 new cases of COVID-19 in Saskatchewan. One is in the north and one in the Saskatoon region. 3 people are in hospital, 2 in the north and 1 in Saskatoon. Both are inpatients and no one is in intensive care. 47 cases are considered active and 746 people have recovered. The first dollars for the new fire hall are in use, with council awarding the building design to ACI after much debate. Eric Bay reports.
The decision of who would be in charge of Fire Hall 1's replacement came down to 2 companies, ACI out of Edmonton and S2 Architecture from Calgary. ACI had a lower score on their evaluation criteria, but the cost, over $140,000 cheaper, made them council's choice.
It becomes a question of what the other bidders bring to the table in the way of their presentation. As we heard about the interview, the experience, there's just a number of factors, and this is a very difficult challenge to try and arrive at, because those are all outstanding architectural firms.
The concern about ACI was familiarity, specifically the city's history working with S2, which Councillor Michael Diachuk called reliable.
S2 was able to bring projects in on target, on budget, and I know that in my experience in other roles that I had, that not all projects come in on budget, and by and large, when you don't, it's because the work is not done appropriately at the front end.
The city will work with the architect throughout the process to keep savings on the front end from costing more on the final total.
As the building gets built, without that perspective of knowing, we need a plug-in over here. Oops, we missed that in the drawing, so all of a sudden that's a change order from electrical. Could be a plumbing, it could be a structural. The wall should be over 6 inches. Those are the challenges, and that's why it'll really be important that the team from the city works with the architect.
The city has budgeted $8.5 million for the new fire hall. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
The Lloydex is kicking off their virtual fair today, starting with a reverse parade in their parking lot. Floats are parked in the Lloydex lot and people can drive by each float, enjoy some music, and even enjoy fair food like mini donuts. Today's rainy weather has impacted the number of floats taking part, but it shouldn't impact visitors as they are asked to stay in their vehicles while enjoying the parade.
So the weather's impacting us in just setting up, and we had a few floats canceled because they couldn't be out in this wind. It just blew their float apart, which we understand. So it's impacting us a little bit that way, but we're true Albertans. We're trying our best to put on something for Lloydminster here today, and the weather's just not cooperating, but that's okay. We're still having fun.
When the Lloydex was forced to cancel the 2020 fair due to COVID-19 restrictions, they still wanted to find some way to put on some events for the community.
So we're an event center. That's what we do. We put on events. So to try to keep that spirit alive was important to our board of directors and to the staff here. So we thought of a couple ideas, and maybe we're a little crazy, but we're looking forward to the rest of the 4 days.
The reverse parade runs until 8 tonight. Events are planned every day, ending with a drive-in fireworks show on Saturday night. Full information can be found on the Lloydex Fair Facebook page. Now our Connor Chan will take a look at your weather.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. Yes, it wasn't exactly the start that the Lloydex Fair wanted to have, but of course they are still seeing some showers right now with lots of heavy winds there coming in from the north, close to 40 kilometers an hour. The good news is today will probably be the only day that we'll see showers. The rest of the week is expected for mostly sun and a bit of cloud cover. So 13 degrees we sit currently right now for our daytime high. As we take a look at some areas in the region here, 15 in Vermilion and in Vegreville, 16 out in Edmonton, in St. Paul and Bonnyville, Cold Lake and Lac La Biche sitting at 17 degrees, 13 in Provost along with us here in Lloydminster, 16 for North Battleford, 12 degrees out in Maidstone, 13 in St. Walburg and Meadow Lake and Green Lake as well. Isle of Cross sitting at 19 degrees. So here's a look at the satellite radar map right now as we kind of see it right now. Still a lot of cloud coverage and of course a lot of precipitation in that area. Of course has been the trend for the last couple of days. Even late last night it started to rain, and then as we see into that Vegreville and Edmonton Marwayne areas, there's still lots of precipitation coming, and like I mentioned, it's going to be the only day today that we could see some showers there. So here's here's a look at some North Battleford. Overnight, showers continuing on with 11 degrees tomorrow, heading into 22 degrees with mostly sun and a few clouds there. Cold Lake also sitting at cloud coverage overnight, sitting at 12 degrees, and tomorrow with a daytime high of 23 degrees for them. And then for us here in Lloydminster, we should clear up tomorrow with that daytime high of 22 degrees with the sun and a few clouds. There's lots of food trucks, lots of great stuff and fair food down at the Lloyd X that if you want to go get your food fixins, there is a good chance to do that now, and the weather will hold up as well. So here is a look at the next 3 days. We could also see some showers though on Friday as well, with that 62% chance as well there, with that daytime high of 21 degrees, and then 26 degrees for Saturday with mostly cloud coverage, and we'll have a bit of sun there, but not a chance of rain for the Saturdays there. But that is a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after this.
Welcome back. Our Connor Chan chats with Lakeland MP Shannon Stubbs about how the federal government has handled the COVID-19 pandemic and local concerns in the Lakeland region.
I'm joined today with Shannon Stubbs, the MP for Lakeland. So first off, Ms. Stubbs, thank you very much for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
With the federal deficit announced at $343.2 billion and with other financial aids in place, how in the end does this all affect taxpayers?
The deficit is mind-boggling, and I think every single Canadian should be concerned. But the big picture here is that when the Prime Minister and these Liberals came to power in the 2015 election, they were left a budget with $1 billion surplus from the former Conservative government. And their spending, ever since their very first year in office, has been way beyond most other governments. This is a Prime Minister that spent more tax dollars than any other Prime Minister, added more to the deficit than any other Prime Minister in our country's history outside of a wartime or a major recession. And the problem is, I think, most Canadians are asking, where did all the money go? So they've made major announcements on infrastructure, and hardly any of it has actually been built. And then, of course, we've seen things like the ease with which they give $900 million to a charity with buddies and cronies and no process and no competition, or millions and billions of dollars to companies like Loblaws and Bombardier and BlackBerry, who don't need those tax dollars to do the things that they were already doing. So here we are in an extraordinarily vulnerable position with our country's credit rating just recently downgraded. And having had to make, and I think all parties supported the concept of making careful investments to support Canadians who have been vulnerable through the last few months. But all of that put together is where we are today with Canada in an extraordinarily vulnerable financial position. And what will be the end of it all? Well, you can sure bet this will be the end of it all. Future generations saddled with either significant tax cuts or with significant tax hikes. This is what will happen is future generations of Canadians will have either one of these two options and probably both: major cuts to programs and services and ongoing structural tax increases. And both of that is bad for long-term growth in the Canadian economy.
Now, moving into the local area, I know there's been lots of tough times with job loss. How much have you heard from locals in that area, and how much concern is there when it comes to mainly the oil, gas, and ag sectors?
Extreme concern, which of course, again, predates this pandemic. The last 5 years have been extremely difficult for oil and gas producers here. I think we're going on the third or the fourth year of just terrible times for farmers with horrible harvests, with growing seasons that start off like this one, very precarious, loss of export markets, and costs that continue to increase all the time. You know, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business just said that farmers this year will be paying an additional $14,000 more in carbon tax this year. And why? Well, that's because the Liberal government decided to hike the carbon tax on April 1st, 50%, even in the middle of this pandemic when every Canadian is struggling most. So I'm hearing a lot of concerns from oil and gas operators and from all the other small and medium-sized companies that are dependent on oil and gas production, all the service and supply guys. These are the homegrown, Lakeland, Alberta, and Canadian companies. I worry the most about them because they're hit the hardest and will have the hardest time to recover. And I think what's just mind-boggling is that despite all the words and all the promises and all the rhetoric from the Liberals over the last couple of months that they would support the oil and gas sector and oil and gas businesses, not a single company or business has been able to access any of the announcements that the Liberals have made with great fanfare.
What's been sort of the general thing you kept hearing over and over from those locals during the COVID pandemic?
The number one thing I hear from people in Lakeland is that the Prime Minister and the Liberals are completely out of touch with them, that they have made things worse in all parts of their life over the past 5 years, and that people in Lakeland and Alberta are already having tough enough time as it is with the Liberals every chance they get, just kicking them while they're down. And I hear from many people in Lakeland that they are extremely concerned because they can't see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Have many businesses in that area benefited from all those financial aids that are in place right now?
No, and that's the thing that's astounding. So it was, 85 days between when the finance minister said help would be coming and when they did a little press release and a post on a website. And then it was 86 days when suddenly that program disappeared. And it was about the same timeline when they put out this program for bigger companies. And we have testimony, for example, from the president of the Oilfield Technical Society, Adam Waterman, in Lloydminster, who said not a single company, not a single operator has accessed any of the support or any of the programs for oil and gas that the Liberals announced.
Now, one of the big topics has been seniors and, of course, taking care of them as well. Has the federal government done enough to help them?
It's been a lot of smoke and mirrors. They say that they've provided a $900 allotment specifically to support seniors through this pandemic. But what they actually did was, in one case, give $500 to seniors who are receiving both the OAS and the GIC. And so that there's that allotment. But then the other thing that they did was, earlier, a couple of months ago, is double the GST. But that was applicable to anybody who gets a GST return. This was in about April. That makes up about the other $400. And so that's what the Liberals are combining together, saying that they're giving this $900 allotment to seniors to support them through the pandemic. That's why we get all kinds of phone calls and emails at the office from seniors wondering when they're getting this support, or wondering when they can expect it, or wondering how they can get it. And then my staff has to say, well, actually, here's the situation. So like on many other counts, the Liberals have totally failed, I think, in terms of actually providing support directly to seniors during this pandemic for their own needs. And then, of course, as you know, the decision-making around long-term care facilities and senior facilities and hospitals are provincial government decisions.
And lastly, just before we wrap things up here, what do you think the overall outlook would be when life starts to go back to normal once COVID kind of passes on?
Well, I'm very worried about the future after the pandemic. That's what's so concerning, for example, about the deficit, that's what's so concerning about, for example, the Auditor General, for the first time ever, saying their office doesn't have enough resources to actually adequately monitor spending and program delivery by the federal government, which, by the way, they've never said under any other government before. And because once the world recovers, and once our country recovers, and once our local community recovers, people will want to get back to normal. Businesses will want to get back to normal. But in terms of oil and gas, for example, Canada will still be in an uncompetitive, precarious position. We will still have a government that hikes taxes, hikes red tape, makes things more difficult for small business owners, for farmers, for oil and gas workers. And but somebody has to pay the bill, right? And so what the concern to me is where will the money come from to be able to, to be able to pay off the spending that's had to happen through this pandemic, which was already disproportionate even before COVID-19. And I don't think that the Liberals have presented Canadians a clear, concrete plan for what the next steps are out of the pandemic at all. And I think that's pretty worrying. And I hope people remember that when we go to the polls, that while I think nobody should underestimate the challenge that the government faced, and I think probably people by and large think that the Liberals have done a good job sort of on the overarching issues related to the pandemic and to public health protection. There's a whole lot of other areas that Canadians need to know answers to. And we need a clear, concrete plan about what the next step is for our economy, for our country, and for our government budget. And I hope people will remember that Canada was in a more vulnerable position than it needed to be anyway going into this pandemic. And it's incumbent upon the Prime Minister and the Liberals to show Canadians exactly what's going to happen next.
Well, Ms. Stubbs, I really appreciate your time talking to me today. So thank you very much for joining me.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate the opportunity. Take care.
Now here are your stock market prices for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
The North Saskatchewan River Baseball League 2020 season kicked off this week. Border City Blue Jays rookie Eric Bay joined our Evan Kenny to break down the start of the season.
Joining me today is our Eric Bay, only not as a reporter this time. This time he's joining me as a member of the Border City Blue Jays. Eric, thanks for taking this time.
Hey, no problem. I mean, this is my job, so I don't mind doing it at all.
Now, Eric, with the Blue Jays, you guys were supposed to have a game last night in Kindersley. Unfortunately, that got rained out after one inning. But just break down that one inning for me and what you saw out of your team.
I mean, yeah, it's really tough to break down much when you are only playing one inning, but I can't really complain. Obviously, it's a condensed schedule this year, and from what we've seen too, not much practice time. But the bats look pretty good, and that was kind of the main concern, I think, for the team going in, is not a ton of reps either in the cage or facing any pitching at all. But in the one inning we did play, everybody at least made contact, so that looked pretty good. Wasn't a good opportunity for anybody to field, as the pitcher did struck out the side. We had a guy from the Prairie Pirates with us, but again, can't really complain. Would have liked to have seen a little bit more, and again, just kind of get into the swing of things as we get into the season.
Yeah, obviously seeing more, it will come. With a limited or no spring training this season, have you noticed it's really affecting players, or how will it affect players?
Yeah, I mean, we did have one exhibition game against the Prairie Pirates last week. But again, you look at that, the bats for both teams, I would say as well, weren't exactly up to par, kind of that midseason form. So I really think that's one of the main things. And then again, just injury-wise too, you look at baseball, it's not exactly easy on the arm. And so it's going to be a struggle, especially for teams that don't really have a ton of pitching, to be able to get the arms in tip-top shape and also just make sure they are at that top of their game so they aren't getting, potentially hurt here either kind of at the start of the season or even later here down the road as those arms do start to get taxed. So it's going to be tough here to kind of work your way up, and that's almost what the regular season is going to be like here as guys work their way into the tournament and kind of just tune up so they're kind of clicking at the right time by the end of the season.
Now, Eric, in Major League Baseball, obviously you have your pitching rotation, you have your bullpen with another handful of pitchers there. But in senior baseball, it's not quite the same. You don't have those numbers. How can you utilize pitchers to more of your team's advantage, especially with this shorter season and less pitchers than you might see in the major leagues?
Yeah, I mean, I think rest is kind of the big thing to do with these pitchers. Obviously, you look at how often we're going. We've got a few back-to-back night games, so that's going to be an issue too, is those second games. So I really think it's going to be about making sure those innings are kind of staying down before we do get later on the season, and keeping those stricter pitch counts is going to be important for these pitchers here as we move forward.
Eric, only a 5-week season where every team makes the playoffs. How important is it for this short season to really get hot early and get the momentum going before playoff starts?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you say get hot early, I don't think anybody's going to be overly hot super early. Again, as I mentioned, not a lot of practices, especially when you look at seasons past where the Blue Jays have been playing in that kind of late April inside, then early May out in the field. So you look at what we've done, and I think the first actual practice for us was on June 22nd. So again, it's pretty condensed. So I don't think it's necessarily peaking and getting hot right away. It's about just making sure that you are working towards the end of the season there, and again, kind of building your way up so that everybody's in as healthy as they can be. You got the bats going, you've seen enough pitching by that time, and making sure you have rested your arms well enough for that end of season tournament where it really does count at that point.
As we mentioned earlier, first game yesterday got rained out after the first inning. So your new first game will be on Monday, taking on Unity. Does your team have any expectations heading into the game and heading into the season for that fact?
I mean, I think it is tough to have expectations, especially, again, after what we've seen. I really think the big thing is going to be, obviously, it's going to be about the pitching and the hitting. Like the hitting, we just need guys to get some more reps. I mean, even walking into last night, there was a few guys who hadn't even seen a pitch all year, and at this point still haven't, just with the rain out. So I really think that that's the main key, is just getting guys, used to that game speed and then working your way up. So I think really not a ton of expectations yet. And again, just kind of working your way towards that end of season.
Now, a big day for you guys. On Tuesday, you have that crosstown rivalry as you'll be playing the Twins. That is on July 14th. Eric, as a first-time player in this rivalry, how excited are you for this?
I mean, I'm pretty pumped. Obviously, rivalry games are always exciting, whether you're a fan, whether you're playing, and I'm just excited to be playing baseball this season at all. So, I mean, I guess there's maybe a little bit more excitement and expectation going to that game, but really just as soon as we get playing, I think it'll all kind of go away and you'll just be able to focus on the game. But yeah, for sure, those crosstown rivalries. And I think that really the exciting thing will be the last regular season game on August 4th. That's where we play the Twins the second time. That's going to be the one that people are going to want to come out for once both teams are kind of in that mid-late season form.
Eric, thank you for taking this time and joining me, and thanks for giving us some insight heading into the season.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Now our Connor Chan will take a look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. Taking a look at temperatures right now, 13 degrees right now for us here in Lloydminster, still 16 in Edmonton, 17 for Edson, Athabasca, and Cold Lake as well. 13 in Red Deer right now, while Rocky Mountain House sits at 14 degrees, Jasper at 18, and Whitecourt sitting at 15 degrees right now. As we move over into the Saskatchewan areas, it's 18 degrees in Saskatoon, 20 degrees in Melfort, 19 in Prince Albert, and 13 degrees also in Meadow Lake, while North Battleford sits at 15 degrees. Now, as we move into the northern areas right now, La Loche and Buffalo Narrows both sitting at 17, along with La Roche sitting at 15 right now. Walston Lake sitting at 20 degrees right now. South Bend sitting at 18 right now, and Stony Rapids sitting at a cooler 16 degrees. Now, as we move into the northern Alberta areas right now, pretty much the same numbers as we've seen all around most of the areas here. 15 degrees for Peace River and Slave Lake, 20 in Fort Chipewyan and in Fort McMurray, 22 out in Grand Prairie, one of the warmer areas we've seen so far right now, but 19 in High Level and in Uranium City. Now, as we take a look in the southern Alberta and Saskatchewan areas, 13 degrees for Coronation and Medicine Hat there, 16 degrees in both Calgary and in Lethbridge. Banff sitting at 19 degrees right now. Now, as we move over into southern Saskatchewan, pretty warm temperatures compared to what Alberta is experiencing right now. 22 degrees for Moose Jaw, 23 in Regina and Estevan, 25 for Yorkton, and 14 up in down in Swift Current and in Kindersley. Now, here's what the rest of the country is going through as well. 27 degrees in Winnipeg with mostly sun and a few clouds there. 29 degrees in Quebec City, 30 degrees in Toronto as we get fairly warmer out into the east. And the Maritimes are still sitting a little bit cooler, sitting at 15 in St. John's and 16 degrees in Halifax. And then over in Vancouver, 19 degrees, and 18 degrees in Yellowknife and 14 degrees in Whitehorse. Edmonton, of course, sitting at 16 degrees with some showers, of course, as we have seen mostly showers here in Alberta so far today. So here's what we could see tomorrow. Much warmer day expected. 22 degrees the daytime high around our whole area here in Vermilion, Maidstone, Marway, Wainwright. 23 down in Provost and Macklin. North Battleford also sitting at 22 degrees tomorrow. Vegreville sitting at 21 degrees tomorrow. And as we move into the other areas of Saskatchewan, 23 and 22 will be pretty much the common number we'll see around most of the area tomorrow. So here's what the next 7 days will look like flag. I know there's a lot of people excited about the Lloyd Fair this year. I know it's a little bit different, but of course there's lots of food trucks available for you to go out and grab some fair food. There's a good day tomorrow to do it. High of 22 degrees mostly, as I mentioned there. There is some chance of showers on Friday, but as we head to Saturday, 25 degrees the daytime high with mostly sun and a bit of cloud coverage there for those fireworks as well that are expected for Saturday night. 22 degrees on Sundays, we get some showers back, and then Monday those showers will continue on with that daytime high of 19 degrees. 18 on Tuesday with mostly sun and a bit of cloud coverage, and then more rain is expected with 20 degrees the daytime high there on Wednesday. We usually average around 22 degrees for the daytime high there and average around 10 for our low. That's a look at your weather right now. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
We have joined with us here today Ryan LeBlanc, the Deputy Chief of Lloydminster Rescue Squad. How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing really good. So I saw on your Facebook page that you guys have a GoFundMe page for kind of a charity that you're trying to upgrade equipment.
Yeah, you bet. So we've had a busy couple of weeks in this last couple of weeks. We're looking at upgrading some of our water equipment. Just over this last couple of weeks, we've identified a few areas where we feel we need to upgrade some of our equipment, and just help us with the efforts when we're called out to assist people.
Okay, and what kind of equipment are you guys trying to upgrade right now?
Yeah, so we're looking at upgrading our sonar that's on our boat with the latest and greatest sonar that's out there. And with that, we have a really good sonar on our boat right now. But just as technology moves forward, older equipment doesn't work necessarily as well as newer equipment. So we're looking to upgrade our sonar. We're also looking to upgrade our some of our equipment for our dive team, which will include some dive computers, some dry suits that we currently have some, but some of them leak, some of them are old, and it's just very expensive to replace these things. So we're hopeful that we're able to replace some of these pieces of equipment.
Okay, and I saw that your goal was to reach $20,000. How many donations have you received so far?
Yeah, so we just started the campaign yesterday, and we're already at just under $700. So we're doing okay. We've never ran an online campaign before, so it's something new to us. So we're hopeful that it works, and if people are willing, any small amount is greatly appreciated. It helps us in the long run, and the overall cost of things is greatly appreciated.
Okay, and other than for residents donating to your GoFundMe page, is there other ways for people to be able to help support your guys' charity right now?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go out onto our website to donate. They can give us a call. There's we're always by the phone. So I mean, if somebody wants to give us a call and would like to come down and see some of the equipment that we're working with, we're more than willing to show people that stuff. So absolutely.
Would you say that you've received a lot of support in the past from Lloydminster residents?
Yeah, you know what? Those people are the real heroes out there. We're so grateful that this community stands behind us and supports us and allows us to do this kind of work for the community. It definitely puts the positive on things when we're called out to work. And it shows that we've got a huge backing for Lloyd Rescue, and we're very, very grateful for that.
Okay, and from the support that you've seen, do you believe that you guys will be able to reach your goal pretty soon?
Yeah, I think over time, I don't know that we'll reach the 20,000 right off the hop, but just in the economic times that we are in, we do understand people aren't able to make a financial donation, and that's okay. It's going to be an ongoing campaign. We can still do our work. We're just slowly upgrade some of these things as we move forward.
And how can people find your page, this GoFundMe page, if they haven't seen it on your Facebook page already?
Yeah, so we've shared it on Facebook and our social media accounts. So if they can't find it there, just give us a shout or check it out on our website. We've got a donate button on our website. They're able to donate through there if they don't have social media. So there's multiple ways they can call in. And again, just check out that Facebook page that we have going.
Okay, and with every donation, I'm sure the rescue squad greatly appreciates it. Do you guys happen to have a deadline or kind of a due date that you would like to try and reach your goal by?
Yeah, we want to upgrade some of these things throughout the summer. So it's not something that has to be done right away. As I said before, we are able to still continue to do our work. It's just some of these things over time do need to be upgraded or replaced. So if we can work on it throughout the summer, then that's okay with us. We're able to buy one thing at a time. Is we don't have to get everything at once, and we're just very grateful that the community does back us and support us when we're in need.
And how with upgrading this equipment would it help with the rescue squad in the future?
Yeah, as I said, it's going to help by the technology. It does advance over time. Our sonar is upwards around 10 years old, so the newest sonars that are out there are quite they're quite impressive that what the underwater capabilities that they have. With our dive team, some of the equipment we're looking at upgrading or replacing is some of our dive computers. That keeps the divers safe underwater, and it just helps us, utilize their time underwater. As our air tanks don't last forever, so it just helps the divers keep them safe. And with the dry suits, it keeps them nice and dry and warm when they are diving to deeper depths, and keeps them safe.
Perfect. So people will know to be able to just check out your Facebook page for any more information or give you the rescue squad a shout.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we upgrade our equipment, we'll definitely showcase it on social media, and we'll be able to show everybody where their money went. And we're, like I said, we're very grateful for everybody's support. And we can't say that enough.
That's great. I can't wait to be able to see what you guys are able to do with everything.
Yes. No. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us, and best of luck to you and your rescue squad in the future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
We're happy to be joined on Primetime Local News once again today by our friend Dan Davidson. Dan, it's a really strange time for musicians like yourself, but today we're going to be talking about something where you found a way to basically make things, I guess, get back to live music in a different kind of way. Tell me about what's going to be happening in Calgary in August.
Yeah, so, we had the Dieselbird Digital Festival in March, and we were the first ones to do a digital music festival, maybe in the world, I'm not sure. But anyway, it was really great. We had 35,000 unique viewers, and we raised over $53,000 for Unison, which is a charity that supports people in the music industry, in this kind of time. And nobody's been working, and if people like me aren't working, our side guys, our front of house guys, our tour managers, nobody's working. So that's where that came from. And it kind of got us hooked on this idea of trying to be a leader in coming up with solutions to what's happening in live music right now. So we partnered with a couple different groups, one being Showpass in Calgary, and we came up with this concept for the Hotel Music Festival. So this is the closest thing that anyone's going to get to a real live country music festival this summer. And essentially what it is we're setting up on the pool deck of the Ramada downtown Calgary, and there's about 100 balconies that look down onto the pool deck, and we'll have full lights, full sound. People can enjoy the show from their balconies. They can have a drink, order food, and maybe even merch from the bands and stuff like that. So it's going to be something really different that nobody's really done before.
So how did you guys come up with this? Was it something that you brought to the hotel in Calgary and said, hey, can we do this? Or was it a group of artists that were talking about how to do something? Or how did it come up together?
Well, the Dieselbird squad, which is me and my video director and a couple guys, business development people, operations people, we kind of were looking for the next thing. And we were partnering with Showpass, and Showpass kind of had this concept, and we dug in a little harder with them and approached a couple different venues, and the Ramada Calgary downtown was just the perfect place for it. So, it was a lot of like-minded people looking for solutions and trying to just do something in live music. And this is kind of amazing, and it's kind of the best we can get right now.
Now, how many other artists besides yourself, Dan, are going to be there?
So we ended up calling a couple artist friends, and one was Dallas Smith out in Vancouver out there, and he's got a small label called Steelhead Music. So we partnered with Steelhead and with 604 Records, and we're bringing me, Clayton Bellamy, Andrew Hyatt, Jojo Mason, Sean Austin, Kristen Carter, Kadu, Kelly Prescott. I think that's it. So I think there's 7 or 8 of us, and yeah, we're all gonna put on a big show and hopefully play each like half an hour or something like that, and it's gonna be something really interesting.
And is this an evening event, Dan? So is it something that will start in the evening and people can enjoy, kind of out to midnight, or are you having an afternoon show, or how does this work?
Yeah, it's an evening thing. So people will, it's kind of a bit of a staycation model to a concert. So people come in, check in. We've offered staggered check-in times depending on which room people get, and it's all AHS approved and City of Calgary approved. And we'll start the show. I'm assuming around 7-ish, and it should go pretty much almost till midnight. So yeah, it's gonna be a party.
And if this is a success, Dan, is this something where you might see doing this in other cities as well? Is this kind of like the test market for something like this, or do you feel this will be a one-time thing?
Yeah, we've actually got a lot of interest from different cities around the country, and the biggest two are obviously Vancouver and Toronto. And so we're looking at a couple properties in the Toronto area next. If we can pull it off, we'll definitely be looking to expand and do it again.
Okay, and tell me about tickets. When do they go on sale, and how much are they, and what do they include?
So tickets go on sale tomorrow. Today's the pre-sale, and if you can check out our social media for all the information on the pre-sale. If you are a listener of I think it's Wild FM in Calgary and Stingray in places like Red Deer and all across Alberta, they've got some pre-sale codes for their listeners, and then tomorrow it's all on sale, and all the ticket information is on dieselbirdfest.com. Tickets are starting at $75, and yeah, everything you need to know about the festival, who's playing, the times, and all of the different details are all on dieselbirdfest.com.
All right, well, thanks, Dan. This is great. I know that everybody's trying to just find something where they can get their music out to fans again in a safe way. So congratulations, and I wish you a lot of success. This sounds like an exciting event, and hopefully, probably changes for at least till the end of the year with the way you guys do things. But this is amazing, and I wish you the best of luck with this.
Oh, thanks so much, Stacey. Yeah, we're excited. I think it's going to be a really interesting thing to pull off, and hopefully we can do it again and again and again.
Awesome. Well, good luck, and thanks again for talking to us.
All right, all the best. Talk to you soon.
All right, taking a look at your 7-day forecast one last time here. Should be clear tomorrow. The daytime high there of 22 with mostly sun and a few clouds. And we get some showers once again for Friday with a 62% chance there. 25 on Saturday, 22 on Sunday, 19 on Monday, 18 degrees on Tuesday, and 20 degrees on Wednesday. So we'll have a lot of showers expected throughout the rest of the week.